Hey, gang. Welcome to Up the Middle. I'm Yergs. A voice that sounds like yours because it's conservative, it's progressive, it's sexy. And I'm not hacking today, which is awesome. Yet. Give it a minute. All right, there we are. Live on Twitter. Where was the TikTok thing? Oh, down here. Okay. I got to start using the TikTok thing too. I mean, they've blessed me and have let me back in after being kicked out for not being cool enough. We're back in on TikTok now. Just let the studio start up and fire up, and I'll get that set up too. Meanwhile, this is the Dare Media Network, the Mastiff Media Network, now jointly known as the Matrix Media Network. Welcome. You're in the Matrix. And that's fine like that, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, do it. Go live. We'll learn studio later. Oh, look at this. Hold on. 312 to 240. Okay, well, we've got you can get rid of the political parties thing. See what that does. This is the metadata for beauty. The metadata for TikTok. I took the political parties info out. They'll figure it out when we get to that. Welcome, TikTokers. Welcome, Facebookers, tweeters. We got to add on to Discord. Proper Discord would be sharing my screen and starting the show. Look at that. All right. So I was so close. Was pretty much ready today. I love to lay down and take a nap, but that's not happening. I got too much to talk about today. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, bookmark mastiff.media. You can find us all, to include our friends down under, other stations that are affiliates, ug.media. The ug.media stands for United Global Media. Channel XL on Tuesdays and Fridays. Would you reach out to them, please, everybody, and tell them that they really need to put me on 5 days a week? It would be such a benefit to them. I suspect they've got the openings anyway. They're just trying to say that they're diverse in their programming, which they are. But this is just a show that I'm getting so much awesome feedback. I just presented for the second time today at my Thursday morning call the Mastiff.media website from when I did it a couple months ago, about 4 or 5 months ago, and the changes that I made based on their direction. And such great feedback, such congratulations, so many of whom also listen to the show. And so I would just love for us to all begin sharing so much better. Like, share, bookmark, subscribe, take part. Today, Pam Bondi and a history of corruption. I didn't know it was this bad. My God. And now, because to me, prior to becoming the Attorney General of the United States, I barely knew that she was the Attorney General of Florida. But now I see why. And what has been coming to light about Florida, namely Ron DeSantis. I say DeSantis because of George Santos, another Republican lying piece of shit. But now what's been coming to light about Ron DeSantis, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, with her no longer being there to protect him and do the corruption for him. So we'll talk about her time as Florida Attorney General. We'll talk about her corruption in private life. And now, as the Attorney General of the United States. Also today, we'll talk about, I've been asking this question, and I want to ask it to everybody here, of course. I've been asking this question. Is it time? Is our nation ready for, is our society ready for another political party? And when I say that, I mean, we're not going to get rid of the Republicans or the Democrats so much as we are going to put something out there that can challenge them and maybe replace them when that time comes. Andrew Yang, former presidential candidate and also New York mayoral candidate, by consideration to some of the other parties coming about, some time ago started the Forward Party. John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, who you guys all know because I've been trying to get a hold of him about this very issue. And we talked about this today too. Why my contact tab on my website is the number 2 tab right after the homepage. I want you to be able to get a hold of me. John Morgan doesn't seem to be calling back. Yet he is, as recently as May, I've seen in the news, and we'll see it today, out and about talking about his new political party that he still hasn't even named, let alone supported any for public office. And finally, obviously, the America Party by Elon Musk. Once we get into hour number 2, if I ever shut up and start talking, you get that joke. Hour number 2, we're going to take another look at Bondi versus Bongino and other fights in the Trump administration. Now, I can tell you now, when there's disagreement in a cabinet, usually and especially between the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense, that is a good thing, because those two positions especially have very opposite goals, obligations, purposes in the president's cabinet. However, the volume of other parties or fights has been rather noticeable, even though some deny it happened. And then there's the published comps, is what I'm calling it. And why I say published is because I have been, for a while, even we did that famous thumbnail from a little while back. I know I made him look like George or Sergeant Schultz, but I can't remember if it was separate when I also gave him the Hitler mustache, and that's Ron DeSantis. When he said, "I see nothing." But I've been comparing particularly the MAGA movement to the Nazi Party. And Trump now to Hitler, although I've also made that comparison with DeSantis. I want to say this up front. I'll say it again in the second hour when we get to it. I'm not calling these people Nazis. I'm not comparing them to Hitler simply because I don't like them. That's true. I don't like either one of them. But that's not why I compare them to Hitler or MAGA to Nazi. It's the actual comparisons, the actual items that they share that have now since been published, put out into the public, be it in a book, on a website, in a Facebook post, wherever, by now so many other people. I've been saying this for going on 2 years or more. I've been saying this. And so, because apparently it does need to be said again, we will say it again today. Although this time, we'll take a look at those others who are saying it, not just me. This isn't me trying to say I told you so. This is me just making the argument again, perhaps taking a different approach. One of the things I said in today's 8 a.m. call with the other creators that I talk with, this is not about me. Every time I said that would happen, I've been saying that, yada, yada, yada. It's not for me to pat myself on my back, as much as it sounds like that. It's just another way of saying we, all of us here at Up the Middle, knew that. And you, at home, in your car, at your office, in a coffee shop, on a boat, me this weekend on a jet ski, you know that. It's Up the Middle. Let me take a commercial break. Hey, Isaiah. See you over there on, I think that one's Instagram. Let me take a commercial break. Hey, all the TikTokers that are there, welcome there. There are so many different platforms open, spread out all through my desk. There's 4 monitors that are filled. So if I don't get to say hello to you, please don't take it as a slight, and know that we love you. I am just learning TikTok. So those of you watching on TikTok right now, bear with me. Put your contact info in the chat if you're willing to teach me. And share this. I've been saying that. I know TikTok is telling me to say it, but I've been saying it. Share. Yeah, liking helps the algorithm. Subscribing helps the algorithm, but I don't want you to subscribe and then go away. This is for you. My expertise from the Secret Service of 21 years, 2 college degrees in both history and political science. This is for you. I'm sure if somebody else comes along who does this type of show, just as informative, with fair and actually balanced analysis, Fox, obviously a level of sarcasm, and most importantly, from both the left and the right, I'm out of here. I don't need to have a microphone in front of my face. That doesn't make me any cooler than what I already think I might be. In fact, it makes me less cool because I'm not out in a jet ski or on a boat that I could have if I wouldn't be spending so much money on building 6 radio stations. I'm doing this for you. And I know politics might not be the thing you want to talk about right now, but trust me when I tell you it's time. The 2024 election is over. Trump is now I'll never say that he's in power, but he is in office. And this is not me being a libtard. This is me being an American. I've been saying this too. If you want a chance to vote in 2026, let alone 2028, we, all of us, regardless of political party, regardless of beliefs and where you fit on the political spectrum, we must all of us get together now. And we are going to do just that right after this. You're listening to Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network, the Matrix Media Network, the Dare Media Network. You're listening or watching on your phone, probably, or wherever that is. Don't go away. We'll be back after these words. Hey, gang. My name's Jurgs. I'm the CEO of the Jurger Group and Mastiff Media. We're partnering with Dare Media of Australia and are looking for new content. Do you have a podcast or maybe a live stream? Does it have a positive message? Is it about sports? Is it political? Is it news coverage? Is it for the LGBT community? Or is it even music? Don't forget, we're partnering with Dare Media of Australia. So not only could your program be heard on our stations here in the United States, but also in Australia. So if that's you, send us an email on air at jurgsradio.com. That's on air at jurgsradio.com. The jurgs.radio URL does not have email. On air at jurgsradio.com. And let's get you on air. Tone tip. Have you seen this yet? I know I got a lot of new people joining. Welcome to all of you. Tone tip. If you're able to, scan the QR code on your screen or go to tonetip.com and download the Tone Tip app. Now, something better is coming. We at Matrix Media, that's those of us at Mastiff Media and our friends down under at Dare Media, have formed Matrix Media. We're putting together an app that is also a directory of the coolest radio stations possible. Each and every station will have the capability to use the Tone Tip. The Tone Tip is an audio version of the QR code. And instead of having the app that we're asking you to download now, because we're actually in beta with this company, and we're helping them learn more about their product because you're telling us, instead of having to use their app, you'll use ours, where you can do so many other things on the soon-to-be-developed Matrix Media app, whatever we call the app. But we also are promising you now, and we are now using it accordingly. This is not just for commercials. This is not just for us to send you ad spots that you don't want. This is for us to send you ad spots that you do want, but also things like links to the various stories I'm talking about, additional points or facts of the songs that you're about to or just have listened to, kind of like VH1's pop-up video, but not in the middle of the song. So many positive uses. And again, please, 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 not just commercials. Literally only 1 in 10 tone tips will be an ad spot. Yeah, so it's information you're actually going to want if you're one that doesn't want any of the ads, which I actually do for me, because algorithms now, the ads that I get me vendor meetings. This company might be able to help mine. I'm advised of events that I actually want to go to, or some that I might want to cover. But if that's all you think we're going to use it for, please know that is not true. In fact, like I said, only 1 in 10 of the tone tips we plan on sending will be an ad spot. The rest is other useful information. So that's way beyond a minute and 15 seconds. Another thing you might want to do is get sponsorship of this show because it's worth your money. Promise you that. ToneTip.com. All right. Well, I just tried to pot down the music like I always do to bring it down slowly. And it would not control. It would not, no control of the volume. That's awesome. I'll put the Tone Tip QR code up in the corner so you can continue to share with your friends and download and tell people about it. But definitely go to tonetip.com and download that up. We have been, and I will be back to sending you tone tips later today. Today's are going to be ad spots. I don't have any of the other stuff prepared yet, but that is coming. Promise you. Let's see who's in the chat here. This is from the stuff that's in video. So if you are on TikTok, Instagram, Discord, those are just in those. Actually, Instagram might be in this chat that I'm about to share, but the others are individual to the apps themselves. Superfan Ken says, "Good morning, gang and Yergs." You can include me in the gang. That's fine. You don't have to be specifically to me. He's saying audio is good on Twitch as of 11:06. Cool. So for those of you again just joining, that's a thing. I had some bad audio this week. It was rough, but that's all close to being worked out. I'm still going to take a trip down to Guitar Center and talk with one of their techs. Yes, I'm on Discord now, I think. Yeah, we're on Discord. Yes, there he is. What is this? That's a vote. Yeah. Oh, I got a good positive vote at 10 after from Superfan Ken. I don't know what that was for, but thanks. He also says that Bondi has been corrupted ever since she's been in Tampa. I think it's longer than that, unless you're talking about some of her private stuff that she did before Attorney General. So when we get to that, please jump in. Billboard ads about her were once displayed on 275 many years ago. Ask ChatGPT. Oh, okay. So you're talking about her corruption. 275, for those of you who are wondering, WTF. That's an interstate around the Tampa area, kind of like the Beltway of sorts. You can also maybe able to find some old photo of it. So one photo I want to tell you all about. This is important. There's a photo out there floating around on like Facebook and other social media that is of Donald Trump, a younger Donald Trump, and a younger Pam Bondi, and Jeffrey Epstein. It's not Pam Bondi. It's a lookalike model that was one of the younger hangouts with Trump and Epstein et al. But that is not that particular one that you're probably going to be the one that you see is not Pam Bondi. So don't go sharing that, saying that it is, and so on. It's already Snopes or whichever one has already proven it's not her. And as such, we don't want to be that. We don't want to be that guy or gal. Let's see. And let's see. Can also ask. It sounds like MAGA /Trump /DeSatan. That's the other one for DeSantis. You're comparing their actions, Hitler and Nazi, which is completely valid point. Yeah, it's 100% a valid point. That's why I've been doing it for 2 years. And we're going to share those actual points, not just, I think that he's a Nazi. No, I'm going to tell you why, based on Nazi ideology and MAGA ideology. And particularly the fascist side of the way Trump and DeSantis govern. And finally, speaking of microphones, did you ever figure out what was wrong with yours? No. Yes and no. I know that it's in the audio interface that goes from this mic here. This plug is called an XLR connection. There's two types of connections that a mic can, actually three, but the third one is a shitty one. There's three types of connections. One is an XLR. This is what you've seen in professional mics. An XLR is an audio connection that's not digital by its initiation. It's much more traditional microphone, but compared to modern digital mics, it's actually still a better sound. But to put it into a computer, it has to be made digital anyway. That is where the audio interface comes in. Sometimes it's also called, it's a slightly different device, but it's also called a cloud lifter. Cloud lifters have audio interface capability. Then from the audio interface, it goes from a USB cable into the computer. Telling you all that because sometime during the show, you are likely to hear me sounding like Darth Vader meets a bad 1970s or 80s TV antenna connection where there's static. All I have to do is slide my chair over to the other end of my desk, reach up on top of the computer to the audio interface and unplug it from the computer and plug it back in. Unfortunately, I'm away from the show. I can't yell into the mic from 4 feet away because the mic is disconnected. You disconnect the audio interface, the mic goes with it. And then I just plug it back in and wait for everything to refire up. But unfortunately, that's all I can do. I shouldn't have to do that. And so what I'm going to do is take a picture of the settings that I've got, take that down to, without disassembling and shit, take that down to, and basically show them a schematic and also the settings that are on the app that controls the audio interface and say, what's wrong with this picture? All right, let's get to it. Enough bullshit. Hey, everybody over there on Instagram, thanks for joining. Everybody on TikTok, again, hello. And hello to all of you. Let's see, where we're at here. Rumble, Twitter, Ross Yerger on my personal Facebook page, Twitch, and ScrewTube. They didn't like me too much either. So I get screwed there. All right. You know what? I want to share screen. We want to take a look at take a look at well, that's screen one, or whatever you want to call it. Let's go back to the beginning. Pam Bondi and her history of corruption. This was amazing. We had talked about it in my 8 o'clock call today, and I just simply, I didn't focus on it. Go figure. An attorney general might have some level of ethics. Am I stupid? Where perhaps they're a good person? No, apparently that is not how we live. It's not how we roll. Okay, so let's take a look at this. American Bridge 21st Century. Oh, it's back. Oh, God. What to know about Pam Bondi, an extreme far-right Trump loyalist. This was as of January, right before they all came in. From American Bridge Political Action Committee and American Bridge PAC.org. For the record here, I try, again, to bring you information from both the left and the right. But also, I'm going to be, for those of you that are familiar with the show, please bear with me. We're on a bunch of different new platforms now, and it's going great. I am an independent. I will always be an independent, not just because if I were a Democrat and now I'm mother effing Pam Bondi right now, you're going to say, well, it's because you're a Democrat. That would be a valid accusation. I've made a life out of being impartial. I was a baseball umpire at 12 years old, an ice hockey referee at 13, police officer, Secret Service agent. I've been okay with taking a back seat, a backstage view, as opposed to a front row view or an on-stage view. Now is my time to be on stage. I, however, do not want you, when you go sharing about this show and telling others about it, I don't want you to think that you're leaving here having to take what I tell you as the gospel. I've lived what so many other talking heads can only talk about from that seat that they don't get out of. And while I don't seem to get out of this seat either right now, I've at least been out of it for 21 years. And more than that, when you consider the amount of time I've had both a history and, two of them, political science degree, coupled with my law enforcement career, and so on and so forth. This show up the middle is your starting point. Take what I give you today and what you'll eventually start receiving in tone tips and show notes, which are available, soon to be available on the website. Right now, just email me and I'll show you. I will send you the links that I use and any other notes I've taken during or before or even after a show. Take these show notes, take this show, and use it as a starting point for you to do your own homework. That's right. Do not believe what I say, like Sean Hannity might tell you to do, or Rachel Maddow might tell you to do. Do not be here because we're like-minded. Join us here because you know it is a safe place to bring another idea and to disagree. Also, for the record, that is not some libtard leftist belief. It's an American one. Let's get started. All right, Pammy, what to know about Pam Bondi, an extreme far-right Trump loyalist? Okay, so before we go there, let's learn about American Bridge 21st Century. The largest research, tracking, and rapid response operation in the Democratic Party. So here you go. This is why I'm not a Democrat or I'm not a Republican. Because here is a Democrat website that might be telling us spot on, well analyzed, accurate information. But now by this title, we see an extreme, far right Trump loyalist. Well, what, and we're going to find out, and maybe they did, but what analysis did they do to say that? Is Pam Bondi extreme? Is she a far right Trump loyalist, or is she just the garden variety conservative? Well, let's find out. Donald Trump's replacement nominee to lead Department of Justice, Pam Bondi. Remember, it was Matt Gaetz, another Floridian, far right, and he is corrupt. Floridian. Department of Justice Pam Bondi faces the Senate Judiciary Committee today, and this, of course, was back on January 15th, for the first of two scheduled appearances to consider her nomination. The former Florida Attorney General was chosen after Trump's first choice, former Florida Rep. Matt Gaetz, withdrew from consideration in disgrace amid questions about his federal sex trafficking investigation and a health ethics committee inquiry into allegations that he paid for sex with a minor. Another Epstein client, perhaps. We'll see. Bondi has a long history of extremist views and abusing her power in office, which should disqualify her from being confirmed as Attorney General. Well, we know how that worked out. Get the MAGA files on Pam Bondi. Bondi is a Trump loyalist who doesn't care about upholding the rule of law or protecting democracy for regular Americans. Okay, that's an opinion. And this is what I hate about sites like that, is that they are telling you this and leading to you believe as you watch me read it, or as you check out this site yourself, that it's a fact. So again, I say this is coming from American Bridge, PAC.org. Again, a political action committee that represents the Democratic Party and is tied to or is in partnership with the Democratic Party. So remember that some of this verbiage, some of this copy might be slanted or pushing the reader in a particular direction. After the 2020 election, Bondi falsely declared Trump won Pennsylvania, quote in quotes. That's a hyperlink too. We can open that up to the next tab and see where that's going to take us. Maybe that's just the article, apparently. While votes were still being counted, Bondi falsely claimed on Fox News that fake ballots were being counted in Pennsylvania. When asked to clarify, Bondi said that could be happening. Yeah, it could be delivered by Santa. That doesn't mean that it is. I think that's the point that this site is trying to make. But and those are facts, because I'm already aware of those. But again, doesn't care about upholding the rule of law. Let's further examine before we say that. Bondi falsely tweeted that Real Clear Politics had rescinded their call that Biden lost Pennsylvania. So in other words, Real Clear Politics I don't know. I'm looking at all the double negatives, and Bondi falsely tweeted. So she tweets that Real Clear Politics took back their call that. So Real Clear Politics says Biden lost Pennsylvania. She says that Real Clear Politics took that back. That's not true. That was a false tweet. And so Real Clear Politics is saying that Biden lost Pennsylvania. I don't remember if Biden won Pennsylvania in 2020. I know Kamala Harris certainly did not in 2024. Let's continue on. Bondi holds extreme right positions that she will force on all Americans. Well, that right there, I'm seeing from both sides of the political spectrum. There are things that the far left, and I'm not going to call it the woke movement, because I think there's a lot of good in the woke movement, in being woke. There's, like I said, extremes in so many different things, and wokeism has that. But the movement itself is not a bad thing, nor is conservatism. It's just this MAGA bullshit that's a little, Bondi holds extreme right positions that she will force on all Americans. Bondi tweeted that the Affordable Care Act created, quote, higher premiums, fewer jobs, less freedom, and supported lawsuits in 2010 and 2012 and 2018 to repeal care for millions of people. Okay, quick story. And again, you decide for yourself. But my parents had two separate insurance policies for their health care. My dad had one, the company A, whatever that was. My dad had that when he worked for himself, still does, works for himself as a general contractor. Being self-employed, he had health care that helped him accordingly. My mom, at this time, Obama administration, worked for an oil company, as in, like, for those of us down here in the South, it's not that kind of oil company. It's a company that sells heating oil to folks throughout, in this case, Pennsylvania. And that's how they stay warm in the winter, heat their water all year round, etc. A good, solid company that provided good, solid healthcare coverage. With the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, they were able to combine their policy into one joint policy that covered both. It got them better coverage collectively than each of them had individually. And remember, my mom had some pretty decent healthcare coverage. Now they've got better coverage and on one policy, so that's one bill to have to deal with. And collectively, my parents are now paying into it, whether it was out of my mom's paycheck at the oil company where she's no longer employed anyway, or from dad paying indirectly as being self-employed. The total amount spent on healthcare is now less than they were spending prior to. So for all the stories of just the opposite of all those factors happening, there are plenty where that is actually the case, that it's good stuff. Bondi tried to block legalization of same-sex marriage in Florida and argued it would harm the state of Florida in court. I don't know how that's going to happen, but being gay myself, again, for those of you learning about who I am, being gay, a gay Secret Service agent. Yeah, there you go. I feel that I should be just as miserable as both of my parents who are still happily married. You get the joke. Bondi supported a statewide abortion ban in Florida, and she supported a law to prevent state entities from contracting with organizations affiliated with abortions. I mean, if that's not prejudicial, nah. Bondi joined Texas to sue the Obama administration over executive orders protecting DACA recipients. Bondi supported Trump's racist and cruel Muslim ban. Yeah, that was a head scratcher. And I know people in DHS and the legal side who have said, we can't do this. Many of whom lost their job as a result of that because they refused to do it. Bondi has a corrupt history of using her office for her own personal benefit. Bondi chose not to formally investigate fraud claims involving Trump University. We talked about this today on the 8 a.m. call. Bondi chose not to formally investigate fraud claims involving Trump University after the Trump Foundation contributed $25,000 to a political action committee associated with her. I think that was for DeSantis. I think. Don't hold me to that. I'm not sure. Bondi's office forced out 2 investigators who had built a case against a company that helped the lenders fraudulently foreclose on homeowners. That was me. I mean, not here in Florida, but my home in D.C. I lived there from 2007 to the end of 2018, 11 and a half years. For most of that time, I never paid my mortgage. And not because I was delinquent. I mean, obviously, at some point I became delinquent, but I was in a lawsuit with my mortgage company because soon after getting started, long story short, I'm not going to go too far into it today, but long story short, I caught them trying to foreclose on my house illegally. I had not done anything wrong yet. I would eventually refuse to pay a mortgage, but when you're in the situation I was, many people said they do the same thing. I took that to federal court for legitimate reasons, had a great attorney, and I beat this bank, One West Bank, and their president, bank president, not once, but twice. And for those of you on audio or radio, audio only or radio, I was holding up 2 middle fingers to the camera. Bank president was none other than the guy who would later become Trump's 1.0 Treasury Secretary, Steven Mnuchin, who during this time, from 2008 or 9, after the real estate and really economy crash of 2008, he was known as the foreclosure king. And I beat him twice. Sold my house for a profit, used it to pay off my property in Belize, and from similar moves, have about 50% equity in this house, not 4 years in. So, that's Pam Bondi so far. I mean, what's everybody thinking? Here's the story on the Tampa Bay Times. Pam Bondi throws herself into Trump effort to stop counting votes. We've won Pennsylvania, Bondi asserted on Wednesday. And this is dated back to, well, it's got to be November 5th of 2020. Trump's campaign at that time had not won Pennsylvania. The picture that you're seeing there is Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi speaks outside the Pennsylvania Convention Center where votes are being votes are being counted Thursday, November 5th, 2020 in Philadelphia. Following Tuesday's election, beside her right is President Donald Trump's campaign advisor, Corey Lewandowski. That's where I know him. One of the central players in Donald Trump's effort to sow doubt in the American election system used to be Florida's top law enforcement official. Pam Bondi, who served as Attorney General from 2011 to 2019, has been an outspoken figure in Trump's push to delegitimize the vote counting in Pennsylvania. At a Wednesday news conference in Pennsylvania, Bondi appeared alongside Trump lawyer and former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani to decry, they said, was voter fraud. Where's Rudy? Is he in this? Is that him in the back? Is that him behind her, maybe? I mean, that doesn't look like the right hair. He might have stepped away. But I know that's 6 ABC microphone. We've won Pennsylvania. They want every vote to be counted in a fair way, Bondi, a Republican, told reporters. The first half of what the former Attorney General said is false. Trump, the Republican candidate, may still win Pennsylvania, but he is not yet. I wonder, let's look at that. Who won Pennsylvania in 2020? Although Trump had won the state in 2016 by a narrow margin of 0.72%, Biden was able to reclaim the state, winning it by a similar narrow 1.16 margin. Because of the way the state counted in-person ballots first, Trump started with a wide lead on election night. It was apparently the mail-in ballots that got Biden the victory. So she is 54 there. She's 59 years old. I got to be honest, she doesn't look bad for 59. She's just a bitch. She's a Temple Terrace native. That's Hillsborough County, Tampa. Grew close to Trump after she became Attorney General. In 2013, the then businessman sent Bondi's political committee a $25,000 donation from the Donald J. Trump Foundation, his charity. The contribution was made after her office started getting legal complaints about Trump's line of educational seminars. While the New York Attorney General pursued charges, Bondi's office chose not to. Both Trump and Bondi have denied the donation was improper. No, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree there. But Trump later paid a $2,500 penalty to the Internal Revenue Service in 2016 and refunded his foundation $25,000 from his personal account because the contribution violated tax laws. In 2018, he closed down the foundation. A prominent Trump surrogate during his impeachment battle last year, this would be, again, back to 2019, Bondi gave a blistering speech at the Republican National Convention, attacking Democratic presidential nominee, former Vice President Joe Biden, for his alleged nepotism. Wow. Pot? Kettle? I mean, can you find an administration with more nepotism? That is when you have family and personal friends who may or may not be qualified for the job in jobs they're probably not qualified for. I mean, the most I can think of pre-Trump would be Kennedy, who had his brother as the Attorney General. But his brother was a lawyer. And while the Kennedys are certainly not without moral issues, I don't think they're Pam Bondi or Trump. And the ironic part about that is Attorney General Robert Kennedy's son is now the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Yes, it is that Kennedy family. So that's that issue. You see something else? No, that's from that. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything really big. I wanted to hit the this is recent, so this will be interesting as well. I need to open this as a new tab so I don't forget to. But from South Florida Media, gotta look and see what that is too. The Pam Bondi Trump Hall of Shame. That looks interesting. From Florida's corrupt top cop to Trump crime family attorney general. Okay, well, the first thing it details, first of all, news. I mean, this is more of a news website. I get it, but I want to see if there's still any indication. Oh, well, there we go. I wanted to try to find an indication as to where this entity leans politically. We get down to the bottom and I see two videos. One is from, oh shit, where'd it go? There we go. One is from what's that guy's name? I forget what that guy's name is, but there's a guy on MSNBC who's like everybody else on the network, a little on the progressive side. And that's fine. But my point being is that um, that's where this is largely going to be coming from, then, is from a left leaning view. And then also Seth Meyer, who, like pretty much all the late night talk show hosts, is also left leaning. So here's a list of what do we got? 10 controversial issues. Trump University payoff scandal we talked about. A failure to act on the opioid epidemic. Bondi refused to sue or investigate opioid manufacturers while AG, even as other states did. She took campaign money from pharmaceutical firms. And critics say she intentionally protected corporate donors over public health. Yeah, that's not good. And again, some of these might be political ideologies as opposed to corruption. But, I think as Attorney General, you probably need to investigate what are now known to be opioid issues throughout the state, and that these pharmaceutical companies were keeping people addicted to these opioids as opposed to not, because when they sell those opioids, they make a lot more money. Go figure. Fought same-sex marriage rights in Florida courts despite mounting public and legal support. Filed legal briefs defending Florida's gay marriage ban, calling same-sex marriage a threat to children and traditional values. Yeah, it's a threat to traditional. Well, I mean, let's take a look at your traditional values. 51% of straight people that are married get divorced. I don't think that's the gays causing that problem. I don't think it's us gays causing that problem. Support for voter suppression tactics. As Attorney General, she refused to act against discriminatory voter laws, purges, and ID restrictions, often aligned with Republican efforts to limit access to the ballot under the guise of election integrity. The two things that piss me off about that is that the election integrity thing, it is without question disenfranchising minority voters who in some cases turn around and support the Republicans anyway. That makes no sense. But then the other thing is this bullshit that Democrats want illegal aliens to vote. No, they don't. It's just that so many illegal aliens also live in the areas where the voter suppression is taking place. One has really nothing to do with the other, with the exception of the color of skin. That's it. Fox News PR stunt during the impeachment. Joined Trump's defense team during the first impeachment with no active legal role. Acted more as a media spin surrogate than attorney. Used House floor to spread discredited Biden-Ukraine conspiracy theories. Yeah, I don't get the whole Biden-Ukraine thing. Everybody's got their titties in a pinch and panties in a wad. I got a bunch of them like that. About Hunter Biden, working in Ukraine. Hunter Biden is an international business attorney. That's his practice. That's what he does. So if he has a client in Ukraine, like an oil company, or even the Ukrainian government, that's actually okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, when he comes to then sitting vice president, aka dad, and says, "Can you help me out here?" Is that okay? No, that is not. Does that happen all the time? Every fucking day. And I'll tell you where else it happens. When son-in-law, Jared Kushner, you know the guy that Trump didn't really know all that well during 1.0? Oh, yeah. Trump actually said this. I was watching that day. I'm like, I actually said, are we talking about Jared, his son-in-law? He doesn't know him all that well. Just sees him around the White House here and there. It's your son-in-law. And I think it was 3 times from September of 2020 to December of the same year, when it was pretty well known he's going to lose. Kushner made, I think it was 3 trips, this is, as we now know, to Saudi Arabia for purposes of securing, I think it was $2 billion of an investment for his new real estate development firm that he will apparently be engaging in during political retirement. So when you talk about the Biden-Ukraine conspiracy theories, let's talk about Trump, Saudi Arabia, Trump, Russia, Trump, Israel. There you go, Pam. Being a foreign agent for Qatar. She registered as a foreign agent in 2019 for the Qatar government. She lobbied the Trump White House on their behalf while also working with pro-Trump political organizations. It's called a conflict of interests. And by the way, she did not register as a foreign agent in 2019 until after she was told, hey, you have to register as a foreign agent, that you're working for a foreign government. You have to tell your government that. Everybody has to do that. It's called national security. Anyway, affiliation with dark money groups, America First policies, promotes Trumpism, close ties to Ron DeSantis. And I'm going to speed up here because we're already into hour number 2, and I'm still on item number 1. Awesome. Close ties to Ron DeSantis' culture war machine. She boosted his political rise. Oh, now I hate her even more. Supports Florida anti-immigrant, anti-LGBTQ+, anti-education policies. Inactivity detected on live. No. I'm still live. I don't know what the hell that was about. Can somebody go on TikTok, by the way, and just see if they can hear me? Hey, David Richardson, thanks for joining. Can you hear me okay? Oh, somebody sent something. I don't understand that. I'm noticing that when I speak, oh yeah, no, there it is. Okay. I'm just making sure that I'm on TikTok and they can actually hear me on TikTok. All right, back to it. Yeah, aligning with the state's move towards a punitive authoritarian style of government. Yeah, like I said, DeSantis is another Nazi, without question. Used Attorney General office for political grandstanding, spent more time filing partisan lawsuits against the Obama administration than protecting Floridians from fraud, crime, and corporate abuse. Yeah, I saw that. Repeated lawsuits against the Affordable Care Act that ultimately failed. Post AG career focused on MAGA loyalty, not rule of law. Bondi transitioned directly from AG to Trump's loyalist propagandist, repeatedly spreading election misinformation after 2020, promoted Trump at rallies and in media appearances despite overwhelming evidence of misconduct and criminality. Okay, that's still her right. That's not necessarily corruption. I mean, it's a poor decision. We are not Trump fans here at Up the Middle, but we recognize each other's right to support who we want, provided that it's based on a intelligent decision. Speaking of which, the conclusion for this particular article: Pam Bondi's record is not just controversial, it is cautionary tale about what happens when a public official prioritizes partisan power, corporate donors, and personal ambition over constitutional duty and public good. So again, this is an opinion. I agree with it, but you decide for yourself. The last line in this says Pam Bondi didn't just betray her oath. That should be a comma. She betrayed the very foundation of American justice. If that were presented to me in a jury, I would likely agree, find it guilty. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish hour number 1 during hour number 2, and we're going to talk about some of the new political parties. I want you to tell me, is this a good time? Is now a good time to either be a part of one of the other smaller political parties, like the Forward Party or the Green Party, or is this a good time to start your own, like John Morgan from Morgan & Morgan or the America Party by Elon Musk? Thanks for joining, everybody. Don't go away. This is going to be really quick, I promise you. This is Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after these words. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training, a dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness and Wellness. And now I'm not hearing it at all. So remember, there we go. I couldn't pop it down. Now I can't change the volume at all again. I don't know what it is with the AI generated music, but I usually play that in the background. When we come out of the pre-recorded commercial to do the live spot, this music's playing in the background. It's already playing. You don't hear it until we come back. But for some reason, it's not letting me adjust the volume like I need to be able to do. Daily Crypto News. Let's get rid of that for a minute. Daily Crypto News, hosted by Matt Deemer. Learn more about cryptos, blockchain, investing. This guy lived like I've lived and actually been a part of so much of the political science that we talk about here. This guy has been a part of the crypto industry. Probably not from day one, but pretty damn close to it. He's lived overseas, China, other countries, and right where all this action is taking place. He's taught me so much about cryptos and investing. I certainly recommend you give him a shot and make your own decision. Daily Crypto News available by scanning the QR code that's on your screen right now, or going to dailycryptonews.net. He puts out a 15 or 20 minute episode every day, and he joins us here every Friday. He's a registered Democrat, has run twice for Congress, unfortunately unsuccessfully, but has gained that experience and knowledge nonetheless. And you'll see him here tomorrow for Up the Middle Friday Fights. dailycryptonews.net. All right, let's see what that's me. I hate just killing it like that, but I like, what's called potting it down, bringing down the volume. But, yeah. New political parties. Where are they? Yeah, here we go. So after his failed attempt at presidential candidate Andrew Yang, and maybe he did it in conjunction with, I'm not sure. But Andrew Yang is probably the biggest celebrity to be a part of what is called the Forward Party. We're talking about other parties. Again, what I want to know from you and get your opinions on, is now a good time? Are we ready for new methods, new ideologies? I think that we need to more aggressively or openly admit and have the freedom to do so that as a Republican, you're not all the way down party lines with the rest of the Republican Party because of either your own beliefs or that of your constituents. Same thing with the Democrats. Democrats need to be able to step away without reprisals from within the party. And as so many said during the Trump trials in the Senate, have the freedom to vote their conscience. 2 examples. 37%. This was an actual episode about 2 years ago on Up the Middle, before I became a radio show also. So it was just a pre-recorded podcast. 37% of Republicans are pro-choice. And again, that's a statistic that's 2 years old. So use this as your starting point. I'll try to look up that episode from 2 years ago. Remember, we've since gone to doing this daily, so that's a lot of episodes. But I'll try to look that up and put the link to that, so you can either go back to YouTube or I'll repost it or something like that. And see where my information, then now I'm citing my own episode. Back then, I already was using the practice of sharing show notes. So I have a citation for it, much more precise than just me simply citing another time that I said the same thing. But 37% of Republicans are pro-choice. And here's why you're never going to get your guns taken away. Because 20% of 20% of Democrats, 1 in 5 Democrats carries a gun. Not is pro Second Amendment, but outright carries a gun. Now, if that only translates into is pro Second Amendment, to make things a bit more simple, we'll say that 90% of Republicans, and that's a guess only, but I feel it's a strong, intelligent guess based on you're not allowed to go outside party lines unless you're really strong and don't care about any reprisals. But at least 90% of Republicans throughout Congress, probably higher, are going to be against taking any guns away from the citizenry. And now with at least 20% of Democrats I mean, what other numbers do you want? If it's 50-50, which Congress kind of sort of right now is, you've got 50% of the entire body plus 10% of the rest, or 10% of the entire body from the rest. We basically got uh, 60% of Congress, at least 60% of Congress, being for the Second Amendment and not for gun restrictions. There you go. There's the math. And so with that in mind, the Forward Party, when you join the Forward Party, you are not to disavow or disconnect yourself from either the Republican or Democratic parties. In fact, they want you to stay a member there. But to use the Forward Party to come together and be bipartisan. John Morgan from Morgan & Morgan has some recent stories. This one goes back to February of this year, which is around the time I tried calling him multiple times. I'm sure Superfan Ken can tell about times, even during the show, their answering service would call me back because of my case that I had with them in California for the wildfires. While I did live in California twice during my career, this recent violent stretch of wildfires, I was here. So I don't know how that information came about. Well, his work tagline for his law firm, John Morgan, is for the people. And I think that's also his URL. But what I want to do is try to get him on here. And he sucks at calling you back. So May, I'm looking at the dates of these stories. I don't want to go back to. I don't want to go back to February, but for some of the videos, it looks like it might have to be. Now, he had apparently been doing this. That's this year. He had apparently been doing this. This is not the first time he's done this, is my understanding. Trying to see what networks are playing this too. Oh, here's a quick one. Let's. I want to get to the other stuff too. Let's watch this.
Attorney John Morgan is making headlines today after he posted on social media that he's forming a new political party. This is part of his post on X saying, quote, "I am forming a new political party for those of us stuck in the middle. Our two-party system is broken due to gerrymandering and divisive issues, both sides. No labels is not an option. Everyone wants a team or a tribe." Now, he hasn't said it, but many are speculating he may be considering a run for Florida governor.
Well, that was from NBC. This guy I can't stand. Byron Donalds is such a Trump bitch. I think I might have to let a puppy dog outside. I want to try to find one of the other stories too. There's may run for governor again. Let's check out this one. It came to the top. Let's see why. I'm coming, baby girl.
Florida injury lawyer John Morgan is set to start a new political party as rumors swirl he's running for governor next year.
10 Tampa Bay's Chris Hurst explains why the Democratic mega donor is turning his back and promoting his own agenda.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan.
John Morgan's ads for his law firm are ubiquitous.
The one group that was forgotten were the patients.
And also ever present on the Florida political stage, in the mix for a possible governor run for more than a decade. Morgan led efforts to legalize marijuana and raise the minimum wage.
The left has gone so far left and the right has gone so far right that there's a bunch of us stuck in the middle.
A longtime Democratic donor, Morgan was furious after Kamala Harris's losing presidential effort and thinks people want a new centrist party.
It might be a pipe dream that's impossible, but they told me marijuana was impossible.
This is the first time in many years that I can recall seeing big, deep-pocketed donors to the Democrats say that they're disgusted with the party.
There's no name for the party, but two major planks of a platform will be full legalization of marijuana and rolling back new insurance laws that prevent policyholders from being awarded attorney's fees.
The legislation that's come out of Tallahassee has not benefited the people. Property insurance is a disaster.
But the insurance industry says that stabilized the market.
One-way attorney fees were one of the biggest drivers by billboard attorneys that led to the risk crisis that we had here for so many years.
In St. Petersburg, Chris Hurst, 10 Tampa Bay.
And Morgan says he's working with attorneys on formally creating the new party and wants to see if other people would be interested in running to be the party's nominee for governor before deciding himself.
Well, I've been trying to get a hold of this guy. I mean, hello, return a phone call. I think that's what I got to do is I got to shame him in the calling and then say, no, go screw yourself. So that's another. We talked about Andrew Yang in the Forward Party, John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan and whatever the hell. But also, do we have it out yet? No. yeah, this guy, of course, we know who this is. He's been saying now that he's going to start a political party. And again, I'm for the idea of new political parties, of new whatever. What I'm not for is Elon Musk, because he's on my list of 5 people that I do consider to be on or close to fascism. Let me see. Let's go with PBS. I know it's a week ago, but I also like to, well, right now, I like to help out somebody that's being targeted by this regime. According to PBS News, Musk says he's formed the America Party. Here's what to know. Elon Musk has said that he's formed a new political party, but it's unclear what steps, if any, he's taken to do so, or how the effort might affect upcoming elections. Well, we know he's going to try to buy positions. He's done that already. Musk has not yet released any additional information. Spokespeople for Musk and his political action committee, America PAC, didn't immediately comment Monday. While there are many recent federal elections filings that reference the Tesla and SpaceX CEO or his companies, Musk himself has even gone onto the social media platform, batting down at least one filing as fake. Sorry. The possible new political party marks another development in the rift between Musk and President Donald Trump over the Republicans' sweeping tax cuts law, which the tech billionaire has called insane. The fissures between Trump and his one-time top surrogate and Department of Government Efficiency cost-cutter-in-chief have exposed not only the fragile nature of relations between the two of the country's most visible personalities, but also the potential political consequences of disagreeing with the priorities of either man. The squabble could be particularly costly for Musk, whose businesses rely on billions of dollars in government contracts, and whose publicly traded company, Tesla, has taken a market hit. Here's what we know and what we don't about Musk's new political party. He says he's formed the America Party. He said on Saturday, and again, this was more than a week ago, that he formed the America Party to give you back your freedom. He's teased the move for days, threatening to make his own party if, quote, this insane spending bill passes. He spent part of Sunday taking feedback from Twitter users about the party, which he indicated he'd use to get involved in the 2026 midterm elections. Keep in mind, right before that, he said he would also never get into presidential politics because it's too expensive. I'm paraphrasing, but he was not thrilled about spending $250 million for the results that he got. Some new Musk-related parties seem fishy. The Federal Election Commission database has teamed with newly formed political entities that make reference either to Musk or to one of his companies. But there are details that cast doubts on their authenticity. As of Monday afternoon, again, this article is more than a week old. As of Monday afternoon, there were multiple political parties listed in the Federal Election Commission database, formed in the hours since Musk's Saturday Twitter post. So 2 days prior than this Monday search. With versions of America Party, or Doge, or X in the name, or Musk listed among people affiliated with the entity. But none appeared to be real, listing contacts for the organization as email addresses such as wentsnowboarding@yahoo.com or untraceable Proton Mail addresses. For those of you who don't know, Proton Mail is like the Telegram is for text messaging. Proton Mail is for email. Several listed a name that I can't pronounce, the chief financial officer of Tesla, who is also the chief financial officer of Tesla, as a contact for the party, along with a Texas address for a building affiliated with Twitter. Several pointed to a home in Maryland. When a Musk supporter posted screen grabs of one of the formation documents to Twitter, Musk took to Twitter Sunday to say that the filing is false and has been reported as such to the Federal Elections Commission. What could Musk do, or anybody do, with a new party? Well, indicating earlier this year he might play less of a role in elected politics, like I said, moving forward, Musk, the world's richest man, who spent at least $250 million supporting Trump in 2024, could use a new party to try to do the opposite. Now he's sounding interesting, although we knew that's why he was doing that in the first place. Anyway, new political parties are often formed by typically struggle to pull any significant support away from the Republican or Democratic parties. I cite as a perfect example that we've already discussed the Forward Party. But Musk could impact next year's elections, determining control of Congress if he is willing to spend significant amounts of money through a new party or existing ones. During the tax cuts debate, Musk pledged to work towards supporting a primary challengers for members of Congress who backed the bill. He also said he would support Rep. Thomas Mastiff of Kentucky, Republican targeted by Trump, for opposing the measure. So which is it? What has Trump said? I really don't care, but we'll take a look anyway. Trump on Sunday called the Musk Party proposition ridiculous, going on to tout tremendous success with the Republican Party. Well, yeah, that could be short-lived, though. Trump later posted on social media that he was saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck, in all caps, of course, saying the whole thing third parties are good for is creation of complete and total disruption and chaos. Well, maybe that's what he wants, just wants to see the world burn. There are official steps like setting up a tax identification number, bank account, and treasurer who can be held liable in future paperwork isn't filed properly. According to the FEC, that's Federal Election Commission, any new party that it intends to operate in federal elections has to register with the commission when they raise or spend money over certain thresholds in connection with a federal election. Federal campaign finance laws and regulations govern how political parties can take in money. Parties have to file regular reports with the FEC. But even a federally designated political party has to gain access to ballots state by state, making the entire process, according to the University of Richmond School of Law professor Carl Tobias, complicated and expensive. Yes. All right. So that's the parties. Let's see who's here in the chat and what everybody's got to say about that. Supervan Ken getting back in saying he's got some questions for Matt tomorrow. Yes, Matt will be here and putting questions that you might have on the list for us to discuss. In fact, I already told him. He already knows. So don't be getting sick tonight. Matt Deemer tomorrow and every Friday on Up the Middle Friday Fights. It used to be a little bit more lively when there was a registered Republican who left under a cloud. He was a mycog. I didn't think he was a mycog. I thought he was just inexperienced. Turns out he was a mycog. And yeah, he's not here. And he was not a Trump supporter, by the way. I don't get Superfan Ken says Morgan and Morgan here. I'm not getting the joke, pal. I don't know what it is, but I don't seem to be getting your jokes recently. Maybe it's me needing a nap. Let's see, Bondi and Bongino boy So this, let me refresh this to see if I can get a time on this Google search here. Oh. Well. Here's what refreshing can do for you. It can get you things that are quite refreshing. In the Bondi versus Bongino pissing match, the Associated Press just released a story. In their own words, Trump, Patel, Bongino, and Bondi on the Epstein scandal. Oh boy. When Jeffrey Epstein died in prison, again, this, by the way, again, according to or from Jonathan Cooper of the Associated Press, the AP. When Jeffrey Epstein died in prison, then President Donald Trump speculated what authorities might be wrong in ruling it a suicide. Many of his allies in the pro-Trump media went further, casting Epstein's death as a murder meant to continue a decades-long cover-up of pedophilia elites. Because remember, these Republican talking heads were saying it was Biden, who has literally no track record of anything like that, even though he's a dirty old man, was also very much with Joe. I mean, he might, smack women on the ass inappropriately, hence the name Dirty Old Man. But they were all of age, except babies. Politicians are allowed to kiss babies. Clinton was the other one, in addition to other celebrities. Now back in the White House, Trump has elevated prominent proponents of Epstein conspiracies to senior law enforcement roles, and they're struggling to contain a fire that they spent years stoking. Much of Trump's base is choosing to believe the president's earlier claims about Epstein over his latest contention that there's nothing of substance in government files. So here's a look at how Trump and his aides, including the Attorney General and FBI leadership, fanned the flames of the Epstein conspiracy theories over the years and how they're now trying to extinguish them. That's well said. Nicely done, Jonathan. Trump and Epstein were friends. We've seen plenty of photos to that effect. Before Epstein's sexual predation was well known, he and Trump were friends. Both were New Yorkers with homes in Palm Beach, Florida. Trump knew something about Epstein's quote-unquote social life and interest in women on the younger side. Though there's no evidence Trump was aware of Epstein was involved in sex trafficking of minors, as prosecutors allege. Well, there's no evidence of it yet. We got to see the files. What poster are we putting up? Is that the whole poster? Those two? Wow. Well done. Activists putting up a poster of President Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein near the U.S. Embassy in London just last month. Oh, no. Wait a minute. That was today. They just put, this happened today. I thought that said June 17th because, no, it's today. Wow. So here's a quote from Trump as told to the New Yorker magazine 23 years ago. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. This is why you do not friend Donald Trump. Can't keep his mouth shut. The friendship later fell apart, according to Trump. He has since distracted himself from Epstein and from recently describes a relationship as far more distant than he portrayed in 2002. Oh, so you lied then too. Hi, baby. Welcome back. We had to let Shady outside for a little bit. Well, I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him, Trump said in July 9th, 2019, after Epstein was arrested on sex trafficking charges. I mean, people in Palm Beach knew him. He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan. You were in 2002. So if 15 years, he's known Jeff for 15 years in 2002. Then in 2019, he hasn't spoken to him in 15 years. 3 days later, Trump was asked what led to his falling out with Epstein and whether his financier had been banned from Mar-a-Lago, Trump's Palm Beach home. Yes, and I did have a falling out a long time ago. The reason doesn't make any difference, frankly. I don't know. He said he had no idea Epstein was molesting women. A month later, on August 10th, 2019, Epstein was found dead in his New York City jail cell. The death was ruled a suicide. Quick note about that. I've been following somebody that I know. Well, I don't know him personally, but I've been following somebody now pretty much just on YouTube. Michael Franzese is a former capo regime or captain of sorts in the Colombo crime family of New York's 5 families of what is properly in the United States called La Cosa Nostra, or also known as the Mafia. He served time in the same wing as Jeffrey Epstein of that prison and says there's no way he could have committed suicide. Again, in their words. Of course, he also said that back when we were all blaming Biden for all of this, even though this was during the Trump administration. Go figure. Trumpers and MAGAs not having their shit together. Who knew? Trump nods toward conspiracy theories. The day Epstein was found in a cell, Trump shared a social media post that linked his death to a former President Bill Clinton. There we go. Oh, this is the post. Oh, let's look at this. Let's just veer off just for a second, because this is what we do, is research. The media has been disabled in response to a report by the copyright owner. Go figure. The post by Terrence K. Williams died of suicide on 24/7 Suicide Watch. Yeah, right. How does that happen? Jeffrey Epstein had information on Bill Clinton, and now he's dead. I see Trump body count trending, but we know who did this. No, you don't. Actually, you don't. I'm not saying that it was Trump. All I'm saying is that the wing does not allow for suicide to take place because it's the confinement area, and there's missing footage. Significantly missing footage. Trump nods toward conspiracy theory. We saw that. I want a full investigation, and that's what I absolutely am demanding, Trump told reporters on August 13th, 2019, when he was still president. When did he leave office that first time around? Well, the stolen election wasn't for another year and a couple of months till he actually left office, another couple of months, maybe about a year and a half for you to start that full investigation. That never happened. That full investigation, Donald? Pressed on whether he really believed Clinton was involved in Epstein's death, Trump responded at length about Clinton traveling on Epstein's private plane because Epstein had an island that was not a good place, as I understand it. Well, why don't you remember your trips there? And I was never there. Well, of course. So you have to ask, did Bill Clinton go to the island? In a 2020 interview with Axios, Trump cast doubt on whether New York medical examiners' ruling that Epstein's death was a suicide. He was asked about Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime companion. Maxwell had been charged a month earlier with luring teenage girls to be sexually abused by Epstein. And Trump had controversially responded, "I wish her well." Yeah, that was weird. Ghislaine Maxwell is the daughter of late British publisher Robert Maxwell. This photo was her reading a statement expressing her family's gratitude to Spanish authorities after recovering of his body on November 7th, 1991, in Tenerife, Spain. So Trump goes on to say, well, her boyfriend died in jail and people are still trying to figure out did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not just looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. You're looking bad for yourself, dude. That's where you're looking bad. After Trump left office, Maxwell was convicted in 2021 and sentenced to 20 years in prison. I've skipped too far. Sorry. There we go. In the years since, Trump has said he's unsure whether Epstein killed himself. In a Fox News interview during his 2024 campaign, Trump hedged when he asked whether he'd release the Epstein files. This is a rather famous interview. His non-committal answer came right after he agreed without hesitation to declassify files related to the September 11th attacks and the John F. Kennedy assassination. Here's what he said. I guess I would. I think that less so because you don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because it's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would. Is this the video of it? There's a link here. It says what Trump said. Maybe that's the video. Come on, video. Boo. Oh, this is it. Down here. Down here. Down here. Down here. Oh, that's where they say, yeah, this is legit. No, this is bullshit.
Well, Mr. President, welcome to Fox and Friends Weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. This is your first.
Why will this not let me? Really? That's all you're going to let me do? Weak. Full screen. There it is. Okay. Here's the interview. How long does this go? Oh, we're not doing an hour and 32 minutes. Not with 6 minutes left. Sportcast should be getting back into
the verdict. It's been 48 hours. Where's your head at?
Well, look, I'm fighting for the Constitution. I'm fighting for.
Yeah. So the hot part with this interview is that he just sued CBS for editing, and it was something they put out. The industry does on the daily for editing the interview with Kamala Harris. And why didn't you guys tell me I didn't come back with my camera yet? Dope. For editing the interview of Kamala Harris, yet what you actually saw on the Fox News interview was very different from what actually happened. Speaking of editing. While we wrap up, I got to try to get on Facebook here to message Sportcat, who's up next, on all of our radio stations from both Dare Media and Mastiff Media, and some of his own social media platforms. You can follow him by video by going to Para, P-A-R-A, or Normal Guys. He's been here? I am not hearing you, brother, or seeing you. Yeah, I don't see you. If you can hear, go out and come back in. I'm not seeing. Maybe I'll have to send him a new. Maybe try this one. So as we wait for Sportcat to join us, he is not on my social medias. He is on Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, and all those. He's also on the Dare Media Network. I don't think he's on every one there either, but on many, most. And like I said, you can go to Parrot or Normal Guys, and I'll see if there's an easier, maybe a Facebook link that he can go to. Yeah, maybe if I just refresh this quick. He's not coming in. I don't see him. Anyway. There we go. Hey there.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. I don't know what it is with Restream today. The music that I play in the background during live spots was bad, barely screwed up. And I refreshed my browser. Oh.
What is that? Is that your games music or something?
Friend of mine. No, my buddy Stefan, not the gay Stefan from Saturday Night Live, but a hot one. He's got I don't know what that's called, a story or whatever for on Facebook. That's he's looking good in sexy underwear and yanking it down, partly showing the cum gutters and all that shit. So anyway,
not interested.
Yeah, not your thing. So tomorrow we're going to pick up where we left off, and I'm going to do the comparisons between MAGA and the Nazi Party, and Trump and Hitler. But we talked about Pam Bondi's corruption today and the long list of it. Some new political parties that are on the rise. Maybe it's that time. And we also did not get into the updates on Bondi versus Bongino. So we'll maybe take a look at that tomorrow too. What do you got coming today?
Oh, well, we're going to, since I'm not anybody's bitch or in a cult, we're going to also cover the, the Epstein stuff. So,
wait a minute. Whose bitch am I, and what cult am I in?
You heard him yesterday say if you were against this, you were obviously one of his former supporters. So, I don't know that.
Wait, what? What? I missed that. What did I hear yesterday?
Yesterday, Trump came out and I think he was on the White House lawns when he said that people that are believing in this Epstein stuff are former supporters and are obviously Democrats. So, So I'm nobody's bitch. He's not going to tell me what I can and can't believe. The Democrats were for it before they were against it, and then they were against it before they were for it. Now the Republicans were for it. Now they're against it. they've all been bought off. They're all corrupt. They're all pieces of shit. So
yeah. Well, I
like
I like some of the talking heads that are saying, no, we want to see what's in the Epstein files.
Oh, freaking Benny Johnson and Charlie Kirk fell in line like little bitches. So,
oh, really?
Oh, God, yeah. And it pisses me off. So if you're going to have,
what's his name?
You're going to stand on a hill.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro was the first one. He said last week, we laughed at it. Matt and I laughed at it last Friday. How Ben Shapiro especially is always, this Democrat and that Democrat conspiracy theory, and these people are against Israel and shouldn't be, and whatever else. And now all of a sudden, there's no reason for him to believe that this administration would lie to him.
They all lied to you. They're politicians. That's how they get jobs.
So after I stopped rolling on the floor laughing, I said, Ben, how far you've fallen.
I'm
when you're a conservative, when you're a conservative talking head like Ben Shapiro, and you're called out by Megyn Kelly for being a dumbass.
Well, she's not towing the line, so I'll give her credit. She's not falling in line like Kirk and Johnson, and I haven't heard it yet, but I'm pretty sure Rogan did too.
No, he apologized.
No, he didn't. Okay, all
no,
right. Well,
he's anti-Trump, and he actually apologized.
I want to see. Somebody posted a video on one of the other prepper channels I follow that showed Trump when he was saying that, speaking to his cult leader, or as a cult leader, saying that you were a Democrat if you didn't believe this, you were one of his former members, blah, blah, blah. I want to know who the person standing beside him was, because the prepper channel said that it was Epstein's, I don't know if it was neighbor or roommate, and that him and Trump were friends. So
do you have the footage?
I can send it to you. I don't have it right off the top of my head, but yeah, it's one of this guy kind of like, he gets a little out there with some Second Amendment stuff, but I kind of like the guy. And he was hot last night when he told everybody, he says, I'm not going to be Trump's bitch. I'm not going to, no, you can't tell me when to shut up. So,
yeah, that's how we work here.
Well, because we need to speak out for the women and children that were victims. And it doesn't matter if they were Democrats or Republicans or they weren't any celebrities. They were pieces of shit for doing that to to women and children. And so they need to be punished. So,
absolutely.
I just sent you the link to the guy. He's got some pretty decent stuff, but he gets a lot there with Second Amendment stuff, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm not big into owning tens of thousands of weapons or anything, but
I'm fine if anybody is into the Second Amendment.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm not against it. I just he gets a little out there with it.
I understand. It's just that, like, my brothers, for example, say the only reason they voted for Trump over Biden or Harris was because they said that Democrats are going to come take their guns.
No, geez, nobody's going to take your guns.
If you'd watch my show, you'd know how that's mathematically not possible. One in five Democrats carries a gun.
I had a school teacher, I can't remember, 7th, 8th, maybe 9th, I don't know. He was a history teacher, and he was talking about this way back then, and he said, let's put this into perspective. Let's say they decided tomorrow we're going to ban all Ford pickups. I think he used Volkswagens, but whatever it was on a big. He goes, how are they going to get them? How are they going to get the parts for them? He goes, it's mathematically impossible. And this was in the 80s. So they're not going to, they may limit your ability to have more than 10 rounds, or they may say you can't have a weapon that's over a certain length or below a certain length. Yeah, but they're not going to be able to take them. Come on.
Well, anyway, we had that, and it still didn't do the job that they intended it on doing, back during the Clinton administration when that ban went into effect. Yeah, there was a dip, but there was also a spike in the black market.
Yeah, exactly. So At any rate, I got a show to do. You're holding me.
Yeah,
up
you
here.
do.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me get out of here. I sent you a link to Discord. I don't know if it's working or not. You told me to try it, so I'm going to give it a try. So,
okay. Yeah. Let me. Well, that's in a new tab. I don't know why I can't. Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay. Well, am I live in it?
It's going to discord.com. So continue to Discord.
All right. I am on Discord.
Switching over to my app. So.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm on there. Let me get out of that. I'll find Power or Normal Guys. I think I might already have that. Yeah, I'm already on your Discord.
Yeah, I knew you were on it. I just didn't know if it was working. So, all right, I'm going to get out of here. Give me the radio. I got a show to do. I ain't got time for it.
All right.
All right, brother. Love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yep. Love you, man. That is Glenn Sport Cat Jackson taking over. And, hey, if you're still there.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to do the radio. Ready? Go.
All right, I've pushed the button and it is green. Daddy has control. I am in charge. I'm out of here. You're listening to Sport Cat. I have overtaken all of Jurgen's stuff and I don't know, hijacked some Australian stuff too. So we're going to go live on my channel. You can catch me over there. Ross Jurgens, have a great day. I will talk to you,
buddy.
Bro. All right.
All right. See you then.
All right, everybody on
Glenn
Jurgens.
Sport Cat Jackson has taken over on Jurgens Radio and all of the Mastiff Media Network and Dare Network stations. The social media channels that we're on right now, he does not have. But you can hop over to his Discord by going to Para or Normal Guys, 4 words. Search that on Discord. He's there. He's on YouTube. He's on Facebook. He's like that Bad Penny and dog shit and everything else. He's all over the place. And he smells. Don't tell him I said that, but I'll tell him tomorrow. All right, everybody. That's it for me. This has been Up the Middle on our entire Mastiff Media Network. Thanks for joining. Thanks for getting off the porch and running with the big dogs. We'll see you again tomorrow.